which is why recently, equally...
Come with me, toy fans.
While I do enjoy Hasbro's range of 6-inch scaled Marvel Legends action figures, I only consider myself a casual collector of this line. In fact, I only started picking up Legends around a year ago, and I have limited my purchases to just a few choice pieces that represent some of my favourite characters. I particularly like the colourful designs of these iconic characters, and while I certainly prefer the comic versions over the movie versions, the majority of the figures in this line have excellent articulation, and this is where I get the most enjoyment out of them, when I can display these characters in dynamic poses. There's just one problem though. It doesn't matter if it's Hasbro's Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classifieds, or Star Wars Black Series. These figures aren't sold with display stands. So setting up a display of Marvel Legends action figures can be a tediously frustrating balancing act. And when you're done, you know you're looking at a house of cards.
Regimes fall every day. I tend not to weep over that, I'm Russian.
It is an issue that has plagued the mainstream 6-inch action figure market for 20 years, and despite the many complaints from collectors, Hasbro has shown no indication that they plan to start including display stands with their action figure products anytime soon. Sure, the new 20th anniversary Marvel Legends come with display stands, but these are deluxe products that are sold for the extortionate price of $33 US, whereas the general release figures never include a stand, and they are now sold for a newly hiked up price of $25 to $26. My biggest complaint with the recent price hike for Marvel Legends figures is that they were overpriced when they were $22, but at $26 you can forget it. By the nature of their design, superhero characters don't generally come with many accessories, so when I see a box like this, with only a short figure and an alternate head, there's no way anyone can justifiably defend Hasbro for not including a figure stand here. Just look at the new Marvel Vulcan. You get a basic figure with a spare pair of hands, and a Build-A-Figure part which is only useful if you buy the entire wave. Honestly, look at this and try and tell me it's worth $25, and I'll tell you, you're crazy. Hasbro knows that a large part of the customer base for Marvel Legends are adult collectors, and those collectors like to display their figures, so not providing a stand with the product is inexcusable. And don't use that tired excuse of, these are made for children, because when I was a kid I loved displaying my G.I. Joe figures on stands, or by using the foot pegs on the side of vehicles. Shocking, isn't it? Children actually like displaying their action figures as well. Who'd have thunk it? When Hasbro release a figure that is practically impossible to display without a stand, they are selling you an incomplete product. Would you buy a brand new car if it didn't have tyres fitted? I'm well aware that many Marvel Legends figures stand easily on their own, but that's all they can do, stand there. If you want to display the same figure in a dynamic pose, it's often impossible without the use of a stand. And I have never been so disappointed by the lack of a figure stand than when I purchased my Marvel Legends Hydra Stomper. This figure is very large compared to the majority of figures in the range, and it weighs a ton, and so it should for $56. This figure is based on the Stomper that featured in the first episode of the Disney Plus What If animated series, and while I'm not a huge fan of the show, I adore the Captain Carter action figure. So when I found the Hydra Stomper on a store shelf, I had to pick it up. The problem is it's very challenging to get this figure to stand up on his own. And once you achieve the pose, he is so precariously balanced that you just have to breathe in his direction and he'll topple over. And given his size and weight, he's almost guaranteed to take out the rest of the figures in your display. It's unusual for such a large figure to be so difficult to balance. Most larger Marvel Legends figures stand up with ease, but the only way I can get my Hydra Stomper to stay upright without using a figure stand is to have his arms pointing forward in a stupid pose, so that they balance out the weight of his rocket pack. While many Marvel Legends figures do stand up easily on their own, there are many others that have no hope, so let's take a look at the more common examples. First up, we have figures with plastic capes, and the extra weight on their backs means that the characters either fall over or have a drunk backward lean, where they are propped up when the bottom of the cape touches the ground. Next we have figures with long hair, particularly females, who topple backward for the same reason the figures with capes do. Also, female figures, especially ones wearing heeled shoes, are damn near impossible to display without a figure stand. Then we have the figures with the cool action effects like Captain America throwing his shield. With that extra weight out front, this figure will definitely faceplant without the use of a display stand, but lucky for me, my 80th anniversary Cap has such a weak arm joint that he can't hold the shield out in front for too long anyway. With Hasbro consistently raising the prices on all these 6-inch products, Classifieds, Legends, Black Series, they could at least give us something a little extra in the package. But alas,
greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
if Hasbro started including display stands with their action figures, they would make a lot of collectors very happy. And I really don't think it would cost them that much extra. A large part of the cost involved in the manufacture of action figure parts is the tooling cost. That's why all the major toy companies like to reuse molds as often as possible. And that's why a figure stand should be quite cheap to produce, because once they have the tooling, they can just continue to reuse it. Oh wait, no they can't, because the idiots at Hasbro give all these figures different sized peg holes in their feet, which makes it incredibly frustrating when trying to purchase third-party display stands, because it's easy to get the wrong peg size. I know a few of you morons out there will try telling me I'm biased when I say that the Valaverse Action Force display stands are the best ones available on the market today, but that doesn't stop it from being true. Just see how good the stand looks with Doctor Doom, and now he doesn't have to lean back on his cape all the time. If a small startup company like Valaverse can issue stands with all of its figure offerings, then Hasbro has zero excuse for selling us an incomplete product. Before anyone jumps in the comments and says, hold on, Valaverse figures cost $32, which is $6 more than Hasbro's retail release figures. Let us compare a Valaverse action figure to a Hasbro figure that sold for the same price. The Deluxe Black Series Return of the Jedi Boba Fett is sold for $32, which is the same amount as the Action Force Bone Collector figure. Boba Fett comes with his blaster as well as a damage blaster, his jetpack, a missile, a grappling hook and rope, 2 jet effects, and a flamethrower effect. Bone Collector, on the other hand, is equipped with his skull mask, a body armor vest that is removable, a cookery knife that can be sheathed on the back of the vest, and he is armed with a Desert Eagle pistol that is carried in a drop leg holster, and an assault rifle that has a removable magazine, and 2 magazines that are carried in the drop leg pouch accessory. Bone Collector also comes with no less than 4 different pairs of hands and an action figure stand. So here's what you get from Hasbro for $32, and here's what you get from Valaverse. And when it comes to value for money, there is no comparison here. I am aware that Hasbro must pay a licensing fee to Disney when they produce Star Wars product, which is why recently equally priced G.I. Joe classified figures have been released with more accessories than your average Star Wars or Marvel Legends figure, because Hasbro owns the G.I. Joe intellectual property, so there is no licensing fee involved. On the other hand, Valaverse is a small fledgling company and practically a one-man operation, which doesn't have anywhere close to the amount of resources available to a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Hasbro, that already has a vast catalogue of action figure tooling available for use in the manufacturing of new product. Hasbro also produces action figures in much larger quantities than Valaverse, and anyone who understands this industry will tell you, the more you make of a certain product, the lower the manufacturing cost of each item. I'm sure a select few of you were sitting there shaking your heads right now going, here's that analog guy shilling for Valaverse. But what I'm really trying to do is open your eyes to value for money when it comes to action figures. Valaverse is owned and run by former Hasbro toy designer Bobby Valler. Bobby's been in the industry for years, he understands its inner workings, and he knows how much action figures cost to produce. And this new Action Force line is showing us the collectors, as well as the rest of the toy industry, how much value you can pack into a box designed for a 6-inch scaled action figure. The business disadvantages faced by Valaverse when compared to Hasbro pretty much cancel out the licensing fee that Hasbro must pay to a corporation like Disney. So any way you cut it, Hasbro isn't giving customers the value for money that they deserve. But if customers started voting with their wallet, Hasbro could make a change, and they can start by supplying display stands with all their 6-inch scaled action figure product. So thank you for watching. In the future, I might make a video about the lack of pinless joints in Hasbro figures. I mean, look at this shit. I wanted to display Captain Britain holding Excalibur aloft, but look at those 2 red dots inside his elbow. It's stupid, man. Anyway, click here if you want to watch some of our other videos, or if you think I'm being too negative, go and watch Pixel Dan or something.